So what are some things that people need to understand, maybe just generically, about coverage as a base level?
A lot of people think that the coverage they should have on their home is what they pay for their home. That is not true. When you purchase your home, you purchase your land, and in a loss, you always have your land. But we have to look at what it takes to rebuild your home, to put you back like you were, especially today. When you look at supply chain shortages, things like that, the cost has increased to rebuild those homes. The agent is required to provide the insurance at the amount it will take to rebuild.
And understanding the contract that you have is really on your agent, but it's important for you to know too, as a consumer, whether you have a guaranteed policy or whether you just have a replacement cost policy, and that's used loosely a lot of places. I think it's misconceptual to think that I have a replacement cost policy. Why won't they replace my house? Well, it has to do with that limit that you're talking about. Did we insure it correctly? Do we have enough inflation on it? All of those things. But whereas a guaranteed replacement is what it says, it's guaranteed.
So guaranteed replacement is going to be a higher cost, obviously.
No.
Not necessarily.
Always.
Not always.
Not
Okay.
always.
There's so many factors that go into rating a home. The year, the age of the roof, the age of the HVAC, the plumbing, the electrical, your credit, the zip code. So all those things go in. And so really to say, because you have guaranteed replacement cost is going to cost you more is a misnomer.
And what your neighbor's paying is not going to be the same as what you're paying. You could have the same identical car with only 3 VIN number differences, and it still is not going to be the same.
No.
So we talked in our planning about making sure that you're insured, or that your agent, knows your situation. And we made the point that it's not a time to kind of hide things or even lie about your situation in an effort to not pay as much or that sort of thing. Why is that important? Why do you need to know all the details of a homeowner?
Well, I would say, first of all, that's part of building a relationship with the client. I really need you to be able to trust me to protect you. And if you don't trust me, you're not going to be forthcoming on the things that you have or even the situations that you're dealing with. And without that knowledge, I can either misdirect you or I could overlook something. And a lot of times, and I don't know where this came from exactly, but it seems like it's a poker game when people call to get insurance. Because really all it is I need clear information. I need you to put all your cards on the table, and then we're going to come and we're going to build you a policy that's going to protect you and take care of you. If you keep your ace in the hole over here that you've had something really bad happen, or if you own something that you really care about and you don't insure it or tell me about it, even if I'm not the one to insure it, I need to know that it's insured appropriately.
A lot of people, once you buy the insurance, fail to call back and say, I've gone from a standard kitchen to a very custom kitchen, or I've added this much square footage to my home. Well, in the contract, you are required to keep your agent updated of those facts. Anything that would change that replacement value. We are held by the carriers to insure that home at the correct replacement value. So if our system tells me the home is $300,000 and I think I'll do it, the mortgage says they only have to have $250,000. Oh, no. It has to be at what the carrier tells us it has to be, or that contract is really, that's an errors and omissions claim. That's on me. That's I've made a mistake. But you as the consumer have the same responsibility. You have to let us know when there have been changes. And then also when we're looking at a new client, if you don't tell me about a loss, I'm gonna find out. I mean, it's like, just tell me up front so I know where to go look.
All right, so now we're going to talk about scheduled item. And a scheduled item is a particular item that has a specific value above and beyond what would be included in your contents or your coverage generally. Is that accurate? Is there anything else you need to add to that?
Or something you want to be insured for anything that happens to it anywhere in the world.
It's usually things that are of value to you.
Right.
That are hard to replace.
If you have something out of the ordinary that is going to be above and beyond what the average person would have, you're going to want to make sure you schedule a value. Do they have to give you a picture, a list, a serial number, something? Do they just take your word for it?
Appraisal.
Mhm.
So I have my rings appraised, updated every 3 years to
Mhm.
keep them current. If it's an antique, typically you can provide a photo. And a lot of times you can go out to the internet now and find something identical to what you've got that's going to show the value of that item. Jewelry is your big one.
Yeah,
That's your
it is
big
the
one.
biggest one.
So your basic policy, homeowner's policy, has typically a limit of like $1,500 for any one item.
Mhm.
You lose one item, or $2,500 for every item. Now, if the home burns down, you're covered
Right.
for all those
Oh.
items.
Right. So
Right.
if it's
Yeah,
limited for theft,
for theft
Okay.
and mysterious
it's
disappearance.
If you lose it or it's stolen, it's limited.
Yeah.
And in some cases, not covered.
Yeah.
So it just depends. That's why if it's important to you, you need to talk about how it needs to be insured. I mean, you don't need it insured as a schedule, but you need, baby grand is a perfect example. You spend $25,000 on a baby grand, you probably just need to increase your contents because
Mhm.
nobody's walking out with it.
And if it burns down, if the
It's
home
part of
it's
your home.
part of your home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
on jewelry, kind of my rule of thumb for what I learned this from a company a long time ago. I've always kind of guided my clients, I can afford to replace the smaller pieces.
Right.
So kind of my rule of thumb is if you've got something that's valued at $4,000 or more, we need to be talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you've been helped by what we talked about today with insurance, we would ask that you would like the video and leave us a comment of something either that you learned or maybe you've got another question. We'd love to hear those. You can leave them as comments. You can send them in and email them to us. The email is on screen and it's also in the video description. But then we'd also ask that you would subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications every time we release a new video. And share the video with friends or family on Facebook, any of those things. We would love to get this out to more people and have them learn a little bit more along with us about insurance and about the other topics that we'll cover throughout this channel as well.